Hi everyone, again this is Jane Valencia. I am an education program supervisor and I'd like to share with you a continuation of the information that I share about Learning Delivery Modalities 1 course. And this time as requested, I am asked to again provide a walkthrough of the Module 6. Previously I had videos from modules 1 to 5 and now as I continue with module 6, this is for school head. And this is about monitoring and evaluation of learning delivery modality implementation. So anticipating that you have finished already with your module 5 and you're gearing towards completing your module 6, this module is about establishing measures on how to track the school's progress in the delivery of your most essential learning competencies through your chosen LDM or learning delivery modality. As a leader, keeping an eye on your progress will enable you to make timely decisions to address challenges, leverage on opportunities in an efficient and effective manner, and of course, provide relevant support to your teachers, and not only with your teachers, but with your learners as well. So this is a walkthrough on the process of planning, the monitoring and evaluation of your LDM implementation, and of course, identifying your measures of success. So what is the objective of this module? The objective of this module is that by the end of this module, you will be able to carry out an M&E plan or monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of the LDM, which is adopted by your school. So let's get it on. What are the contents of this module? So we have 2 lessons for this module. Lesson 1 tackles about the basic M&E concepts and key related frameworks, wherein you're going to take a LAC session, which is the 11th session for your learning action cell. And then for your lesson 2, you'll be tackling M&E framework and of course, planning. And thereon, you're going to have or conduct your LAC session 12. Of course, optional activities may be determined by the LAC members under the guidance of the LAC leader will also be feasible. As indicated in this module, the time required for this module to be accomplished is a period of 9 hours. Okay, so let's go on with basic M&E concepts and key related frameworks, which is our lesson 1. So the objectives of this lesson is for us to be able to define what M&E is, describe 2 frameworks relevant to M&E, which is the theory of change by Kirkpatrick's level of monitoring and evaluation of training, and then relate the 2 frameworks as they apply to LDM implementation. So the key topics here are, of course, theory of change, which is not new to us for our school heads and supervisors. We have the Kirkpatrick's level of monitoring and evaluation of training, elements of M&E. And of course, with this module comes other resources required, which are readings on theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of monitoring and evaluation of training. We have the thought organizers for this module, and of course, your study notebook. So gearing towards your first activity, it says here you have to understand what M&E is. Sabing ganon, before we define what M&E is, let us get familiar with some framework and guiding concepts and principles involved in M&E. Specifically, the theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of M&E training. So you are tasked to visit the websites about theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of M&E in training. These are the websites provided to you. For the theory of change, this is the URL. And for Kirkpatrick's level of M&E training, this is for you to find out. These are URLs wherein you have to research and, of course, do the readings. After doing the readings, you're going to reflect on the following questions. First, what are the similarities between theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of M&E? Then you have to write your answer in your study notebook. And then we have, how are the 2 frameworks related? You have to determine the correlation of the 2. So in here, you're going to use your thought organizer for lesson 1, activity 1. So this template will help you to correlate the key elements of the two frameworks based on how you're able to understand it by visiting these two URLs. So it's always the power of reading. Okay, so how does the thought organizer for lesson 1, activity 1 looks like? Here is your learning delivery modalities course 1 thought organizers for lesson 1, activity 1, which is also available in the link provided for this module. So if we're going to discuss the thought organizers lesson 1, activity 1, you can see here the theory of change and Kirkpatrick's levels of monitoring and evaluation of training. And then for you to correlate the two, you have these following guide questions. What is the main interest of M&E in each framework? You have to identify the focus of M&E under theory of change, and then identify as well the focus of M&E under Kirkpatrick's level of monitoring and evaluation of training. And then just get the key concepts on the M&E levels, the following processes and steps, and then try to find the relationship between the two. So that is the first activity that you have. And then moving on to your activity 2, you will be tasked to open the thought organizers for module 6A file. That is the file that is included in this link as well. Read through the definitions of monitoring and evaluation. Also, you have to search online for more definitions of these two concepts. Check out the common words among the two, which is the definition of monitoring and the definition of evaluation. And you have to connect the common words to write your own one-sentence definition or description of each of the following. So you have to read thoroughly definitions under monitoring, definitions under evaluation, so that you can come up with your own definition. So key in your own definition for monitoring and key in your definition on evaluation and try to cite the relationship between the two. And then you can come up with your own description. Then how are you going to facilitate that? You can use the thought organizer for lesson 1, activity 2 for this activity. It goes something like this, right? So these are the definitions provided for monitoring. And these are the definitions and descriptions provided for evaluation. And to help you sort out the ideas and the key concepts, you have here the continuation of these 4, which are the common words from the definitions of monitoring and the common words from the definitions of evaluation. So you get them, try to sort them out and classify them. And then provide your own definition of your monitoring, provide your own definition about evaluation, and then try to link the two. And then you can be able to operationalize your own definition of monitoring and evaluation and how they are related to each other. So that is activity 2. Then we proceed to activity 3. In activity 3, you are now to conduct your LAC session 11. Now, in this LAC session 11, you have to discuss the answers and the thoughts on the questions in your previous activities, which are 1 and 2 of this lesson. Then you have to refine your answers as you go to the discussion. And of course, do not forget to write the insights or your thoughts in your study notebook. Okay? And then, of course, you have to follow through the following questions in order for you to really understand what this lesson is about, what this module is about. So you have to answer the following questions. What are the similarities between theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of M&E? How are they related? These are being discussed in your LAC session, of course, okay? And then you course through your thought organizer for lesson 1, activity 1, to help you share your answers for the following framework. And then your definition on monitoring and evaluation. Use your thought organizer for lesson 1, activity 2 to help you discuss your own definitions with your team members. Then how can you use theory of change and Kirkpatrick's level of M&E for the M&E of your LDM implementation? This is already your sharing part with your LAC members, okay, with your co-teams, okay? And then after doing so, you set a date and time for LAC session 12, which you will hold at the end of the lesson 2. Okay, and then after accomplishing this activity 3, you will be prompted in this statement. Well done, you have completed lesson 1. You may now proceed to lesson 2. Okay, what is the lesson 2 about? What is the lesson 2 about? Lesson 2 is about M&E framework and planning. So by the end of this lesson 2, you will be able to discuss the framework for M&E of your implementation of your chosen LDMs. You prepare your own M&E plan, and you can discuss how M&E data will inform your decision making on any necessary changes and adjustments to your LDM implementation, if there is, okay? So what are the topics underscoring in this lesson? We have, of course, the M&E framework and M&E plan, because after having understood what monitoring and evaluation is about and how you were able to correlate them and provide your own definition, you are now ready to come up with your own framework and plan for the accomplishment and implementation of this framework. So what are the resources required? You have the LDM implementation and M&E framework. And then the M&E plan template, we have the thought organizers for this module as well. And of course, you have your study notebook. Gearing on your activity 1, starting off, we have to study the LDM implementation M&E framework. And you have to reflect on this question. What elements of LDM implementation do you need to monitor and evaluate? Write your answers down in your study notebook. So if you're going to check on the LDM implementation M&E framework, this is what it looks like. And it is also included in this link, the Learning Delivery Modality Implementation Monitoring and Evaluation Framework. So if we're going to discuss this, okay, our key product is learning, of course. And then we have the governance and management, where our school head is really concentrating on. And our outcome will always be knowledge products. Okay, so these are the M&E points, governance and management, that we have to really take into consideration. The programs and processes under the following levels. And then the M&E of learning, improved performance, positive behavior change, focused learning, interaction, preparedness, and base competencies. And of course, the learning and application. So from the pre-training down to the post-training. But there's this something that we have to underscore. What are our inputs, outputs, the midterm monitoring, and then the outcomes. So that we can really identify issues and concerns and be able to improve on our practice in terms of the chosen learning delivery modalities, and make the necessary interventions if necessary. Okay, so these are things that we have to underscore. These are the elements under the learning delivery modality implementation monitoring and evaluation framework, wherein we really have to discuss the different dimensions and aspects of it. Okay, so after having checked on the M&E framework, you have now to come up with your M&E plan and use the M&E plan template file. So you have to go over it carefully, and as much as possible, accomplish all the sections properly. In doing so, you have to also underscore answering the following questions using your thought organizer for lesson 2, activity 2. Okay? This will help you in answering your M&E template. Okay? What developments or situations will make you consider changing the LDM of your school? Having studied the M&E framework, you still have to improve on the chosen LDM, and what situations that led you to think about that or consider that. Then what M&E data will you need to make this decision? And what issues or constraints do you foresee arising if you change the LDM of your school? These also have to be answered thoroughly. Okay? So in helping you to do so, we have this LDM implementation M&E plan template. And in accomplishing this, it covers 4 levels, which I have underscored under the M&E framework as well, which are the inputs, the activities, the outputs, midterm results, and outcomes, which is the final. Inputs and activities refer to the tasks related to the implementation of the LDM in the school that need to be conducted in order to prepare and improve the school's implementation of the LDM. Outputs refer to resources, materials, and processes that are produced from the activities conducted in relation to the LDM implementation. And then midterm results refer to the desired state along areas of the implementation of the LDM that the intervention would like to achieve. Finally, outcomes refer to the impact of the LDM implementation in the school on the quality of learner outcomes. In this M&E plan, the specific areas of concern indicated are consistent with the LDM implementation plan. What are those? These are the learning resources, the learning management, the teacher capacity, the household and community capacity, and of course, your school operation. So the things that would help you in accomplishing this template are the indicators. Okay, what are the indicators that you need to underscore in this template in order for you to really spell out the necessary information that could help you in planning for your monitoring and evaluation? So as you can see, these are the levels of M&E inquiry, the inputs and activities, the outputs, the midterm results, and of course, our outputs or outcomes. So what indicators will be gathered to respond to the M&E inquiry? You should provide here, tangible or observable, okay, indicators. So under inputs and activities, what are the observable indicators? Like say, for example, your modular distance learning. What are the key indicators as inputs? We have the modules itself, the resources that you're going to use. How is the learning management of these modules? How is the teacher capacity in providing modular distance learning? And how are the household and community capacity in terms of modular distance learning? And then how is the school operation in terms of modular distance learning? Then how is the data collection of this indicator, the timing, okay, the time frame, and then how you process the data gathered, what mechanism are you going to provide or use or utilize in really assessing how the implementation is improving, developing, okay? And then who will collect? Who are the persons involved? Okay, and in this part, use of M&E results. Okay, who are the end users of these outputs or M&E activities? Who will benefit from it? Okay, what is the use of or you measure the monitoring and evaluation. After measuring it, what will be the outcome? Okay. So that's it with your sample of the filling up of LDM implementation and an M&E plan template. Then after doing so, okay, this is the outcome part. After doing so, you need to provide answer with your LAC members with this question, because this is actually a part of your activity, lesson 2, activity 2, thought organizer, wherein you're going to dwell with the following question: what developments or situations will make you consider changing the LDM of your school? What is your answer? And what are the answers generated by your fellow LAC members? Then what M&E data will you need to decide to change or make adjustments, to the LDMs of your school? Your answer and your fellow LAC members' answer. And what issues or constraints do you foresee arising if you change the LDM of your school? Then your answer and your fellow LAC members' answer. And then you get to gain your personal reflection. This is a form of sharing in the under your learning action cell, which will help you internalize, the information gathered, and which will be viable in planning for your monitoring and evaluation implementation. And with that, you are going towards accomplishing your activity 3, wherein you are to conduct your LAC session 12. And then in this LAC session 12, you are to discuss the M&E elements as indicated in your template and make adjustments if necessary based on your discussion. Then, of course, you have to discuss the answers on the questions posted under activity 2 and the answers on your thought organizer. If you still remember your answers and your fellow LAC members' answer. And then you have to write down interesting ideas that you gain in your study notebook. Then, of course, you have to submit your school M&E plan to your LAC leader, who, after checking your submission, will then submit it to the Skills Division Superintendent for consolidation and further action if necessary. Schedule LAC sessions routine, which you will hold as you go through Module 7. Congratulations, you have completed Module 6A. You have to proceed now to Module 7. Thank you and God bless.